Alt season is canceled. That's what they told us. What the charts determined, that was a lie. Cronos is up almost 3x over the last 3 days. And we're going to talk about Cronos. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, XRP, the entire altcoin markets, and structures and coins that have the exact same setup as Cronos, but pre-breakout. Also, I'll give you some entries on Cronos so you don't have to FOMO into it right now. So without any further ado, let's get into the action here. All right, it is August 28, 2025, and as of the time of recording, Bitcoin is finding support off of the 100 moving average. Again, this posture is the most bullish. And, I don't want to just like oversimplify things, but honestly, as long as Bitcoin, the 200 moving average, does not get on top of everything else, so like the 200 gets up here for some reason or just stays stagnant, and then the red crosses it, the orange crosses it, and then the light blue crosses it, as long as we don't get a structure like that, it doesn't matter what Bitcoin does from here, because at $15,000, $16,000, my targets have been 118,000, 138, and 207, but 118 was the major one that has taken place first, and that is essentially the moment we've been talking about Bitcoin getting into price discovery, which from here to here, Bitcoin does a 10x and significantly outperforms the rest of the market. From here, Bitcoin only does a 50%, while Ethereum does a 5x, while others does a 10x. And in my opinion, structurally, we have already gotten to that point. Looking at the money flow chart, something that we talked about a lot yesterday, and things are really heating up now, and I talked about this happening. Things are going to go exponentially faster and faster as we go on in this roller coaster ride, which is the cryptocurrency market. So, the roller coaster ride that is the cryptocurrency market, you go from fiat to Bitcoin. This is the longest part of the ride. This has been the last 3 years. Bitcoin has been the showstopper. Bitcoin has been the sun. Rising tides floats all ships. But we got into price discovery, and then we started rotating. Over the last month, Ethereum is up 50% while Bitcoin is at the same price. We talked about this yesterday in the charts. I'll quickly show it one more time. And then we're going to talk about Cronos and the altcoins because things are drastically heating up at an exponential rate. So on the top is Bitcoin. On the bottom is Ethereum. I have the same date circled. We can see Bitcoin goes to 110, back to 110. And Ethereum during the same dates, 3,000 the first time, 3,500 during the second time, 4,200 the third time. So clearly we can see Ethereum at this point has been significantly, not close, outperforming Bitcoin. It is not particularly close. Where is my chart here? Here we go. So it has been significantly outperforming Bitcoin from this moment. So now we can see we have transitioned to the next part of the phase. And then we wake up over the last couple of days, and what do we see? Cronos just absolutely ripping to the upside, up a 3x over the last few days. And there was people that accused me of saying like, oh, he didn't have this on his bingo card, as if we haven't been talking about this for the last years. So here we go. Here is the setup, and there are lots of coins that have this exact same setup pre-breakout. Now, I'll just say, if you're into Cronos, I'm going to give you my specific analysis on Cronos, and then we're going to talk more broadly. Specific analysis, I never recommend FOMOing into a chart that's already up a 3x. I don't recommend doing that. Can it continue to go? Absolutely. I will give you my targets that I've had since it was at 5-6 cents. Literally all the way back here at 5 cents. I've been talking about Cronos since then. My first target was 15 cents. We hit that on the last run up. So you could have taken a little bit of profit, back test, reaccumulate, and go up again. My second target has 30 cents. We hit that today, so I think it's a good place to take profit. From here, it's 50 cents, 69 cents, and $1.11. That's where I would exit. Not financial advice, but that's where I'll be exiting my Cronos positions. And if you want to get a reaccumulation or a good entry, what would be happening would be a back test and a reaccumulation like so. Getting rejected off of the 0.5 Fibonacci, which would be 50 cents, or the 618-702, which would be 69 cents. That would be a pretty common place. So that's the specific analysis on Cronos specifically. But now I want to shift gears a little bit and show you, like, why did I have this setup again and again and again and again And, you know, it wasn't just talking about, because I'm going to show you a whole list of coins that have this exact same setup that Cronos has, which is my favorite setup. And what is the setup? The setup is Wyckoff accumulation. This is the exact same thing. Shout out to Richard D. Wyckoff, the GOAT of trading. You have your markdown, which is what we call a bear market. You go into your selling climax, your secondary test in phase B. You go into the sign of strength, your back test, reaccumulation, and then you start your phase E. That is textbook. What I see from crypto a lot more, which is kind of like I've made my own little flavor of this, it's the same thing, Wyckoff accumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range. What I see from crypto, and I first started seeing this looking at Bitcoin, is you get a move higher, back test, reaccumulate before going into the markup. And so I have the example. The first example that I saw of this in cryptocurrency was Bitcoin back in 2013. So on the top, we're going to show Cronos. And then on the bottom, this is the example. I already have it because I've talked about this a zillion times on my live streams. Literally have not stopped talking about this. Two things that I've talked about is Wyckoff accumulation, and it's pretty rare that you break above the all-time high the first time go around. Okay, so on the top is Cronos. On the bottom is Bitcoin from 2013 through 2017. This is from 2021 through present day. Okay, so everybody with me? This is Cronos 2021 through present day. This is Bitcoin from 2013 through 2017. Okay, so you have your parabolic rise, your crash down, reaccumulation, Wyckoff accumulation. This is a bottoming structure. This is what they both did. Selling climax, secondary test, and phase B, right? Then you go into your sign of strength, which marks firmly that the bottom is in. You do not get new lows after sign of strength, typically, unless there's inflation. Then you have your back test, reaccumulate, back test, reaccumulate, move higher than the sign of strength, back test, reaccumulate again, grind up. That's exactly what Cronos did. This is what Bitcoin did back in 2016. And then you start, it gets rejected a few times off the all-time high back in 2013. And then you go into your full-on markup, which is the bull market. Okay? But I've have like 20 coins that I've been talking about on my channel consistently daily with the live streams. And there's so many coins. We're just going to give you a few examples, not limited to, that have the exact same setup. Dogecoin has the exact same setup. Sign of strength, back test, move higher, back test, reaccumulate. But guess what? It's pre-breakout. ADA has the exact same setup, pre-breakout. Algo has the exact same setup, pre-breakout. AVAX has the exact same setup, pre-breakout. DOT, ETC, LCX, Link, the Total 2, Total 3, Other, Uniswap, sign of strength, move higher than the sign of strength. VeChain, they all have this exact same setup. Why do they have this exact same setup? Because they're all going to do the same thing relatively at the same time. In my opinion, Cronos is one of the first movers of guess what's next. Others, in my opinion, is going to catch up to what we talked about yesterday. Bitcoin being a couple of beats ahead of Ethereum, Ethereum being a couple beats ahead of the rest of the altcoins. So in my opinion, the next logical thing is for others is going to catch up and get to the 618 Fibonacci retrace, just like we talked about yesterday with Ethereum. Now, there's a lot of people talking about September crash, and I think relatively there will be a crash in September, but it's going to be accompanied by Ethereum making a new all-time high. The total others making getting to the 702 Fibonacci retracement, and then sure, back testing the prior range, which is a common thing to do. Yeah, we're talking about a 15% correction. I think that could definitely happen. By the way, the move higher than the sign of strength was almost a double top. So again, it wouldn't even be weird for others to try to attempt to get to a double top and then back test the 702. That would be way more violent, way more painful. But that's how the market likes to go. That would be a 27% correction, but it would be accompanied by, guess what? A 63% move. And you think it can't happen, but looky here. Like, boring forever. Boring forever. And then we had a dip, and then guess what happened in the matter of how many days was this? How many days did others do a 135% move? That was 32 days, okay? So it does not take long. It is boring until it is not. And anyone told you that alt season is canceled, either were lying to you, misguiding you, or did not know what they were talking about, and they do not understand the most simple thing, which is this: the money flow of how it flows. Now, is it going to be perfect sunshine and rainbows? There's going to be no red days, and it's going to be up only, and you're going to be able to max out your credit cards, and you won't have to worry about anything. And I could just tell you sweet little nothings, young Jimmy, and it'll be okay. It's going to be okay, young Jimmy. No, it's not going to be like that. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be bruises. All the way up, there's going to be significant pullbacks. I'm telling you right now, there will be significant pullbacks all the way up. Here's the example that I like to give with Ethereum trying to get above the all-time high. I have this little white thing right here, this little white line here that represents this red pullback that we had, which you literally can't even see it unless I put this here, which is why I have it here, because it just looks so insignificant, right, in the midst of the bull run for Ethereum. But you need to understand, trust, and believe. Guess what that is? When we zoom in and really get under the details of what actually took place here, this is a 34% correction, right? Everyone wants 3, 5, 10x's, but no one wants 10, 20, 30, 40% corrections. That's the price to pay, and that's just a little insignificant blip on the radar. Like, you don't even see that if I zoom out enough, but that happened. That was a 34% correction. So is it going to be bumpless? No. But that is the phase that we are quickly, rapidly, and exponentially shifting into. In my opinion, you need to have an exit plan and an entry plan, whether that's with me or yourself or somebody else. It doesn't matter, but you need to get a plan. And if you need help setting something like that up, let me know. Hit me in the DMs for that. That is something that I offer. But the important thing is, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. What do you guys think is going to happen for the rest of the year? Follow me for more. Yes, savages.